better.
Of course. Yeah, I think
Right.
Porto were excellent both legs, and I think a lot of Premier League sides can take a lot from that performance in terms of nullifying Arsenal. Martin Ødegaard was superb tonight, though. He was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic from start to finish. Um, just superb.
I'm looking at Martin Odegaard, and every single game he just seems to grow week in, week out as a captain and as a player as well. And it's finally living up to that potential that we saw of him in the 15-year-old at Real Madrid, which is crazy to think about. And what kind of what kind of leader does that when he takes a first penalty in the penalty shootout? I'm just like, what did he do? I would say he coolly slotted it home and he set the trend for Arsenal because he just got the crowd going. And when you get the penalties going with your crowd going, it makes it so, so much easier when I'm looking at it as well. But Porto, you have to give them a lot of credit for what they did today as well. Even the manager was so cool after Kai Havertz pushed him. Did you see that, Joshua? How Kai
Yeah,
Havertz just pushes the manager?
yeah. I was surprised Kai didn't get a booking for that though, because
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
He got away
if
with
he
it.
drops to the ground, he should be booked. So
Imagine the manager would dive as well. Consensao would have dived. He got a yellow card for Havertz. That would have been incredible to see. Oh man. But who was your man of the match in that Arsenal game? Because it's crazy to look at how Arsenal were looking so comfortable for most of the game, and then Porto topsy-turvy, counter-attacking. They look fantastic. And I'm just thinking maybe they shouldn't have taken off Ivanilson for Taremi. I love Mehdi Taremi, don't get me wrong, but Ivanilson just had something that was challenging Saliba and Gabriel from what I saw personally. What do you think, Joshua?
yeah, that was the only disappointing thing for Porto. They just lacked that creativity tonight. They never had that moment. I even said on commentary, in football, you always have, especially at this level, there's always a moment in the game. There wasn't one for Porto. You could be like, oh, if they took that chance, they would have got through. And as soon as they took Evanston off, Tarami wasn't good tonight. He looked very ragged, running through the channels. It came an easier night for Gabriel and Saliba coming out. So yeah, disappointing. And Gelano, who got the goal in the first leg, he was dreadful tonight. The big disappointment. Obviously, he missed the penalty.
He was ghosting until that
Him,
penalty. 120 minutes doesn't do anything.
yeah, he was poor. So was Saka tonight as well. To answer your question, I thought back again, Erdegaard was too good because he
Mm.
got things going for Arsenal. I think there was a lot of nerves in the Arsenal side. Once they didn't get that early goal in the first 10 minutes, Rice wasn't running, breaking up plays easy. Jorginho wasn't dictating play. There wasn't much space. Of course, Pepe, the veteran, was sensational. Yeah, we could,
41 years old. He's older than you and I, Joshua. It's crazy that
yeah,
he's still playing professional
I
football.
know. Menzel, and even at extra time, I don't know if you saw, he won a tackle, and he drove and went past the player and then won a throw in. Just yeah, that would be my disappointment for Porto, just not having that creative, the edge in the final third. But they were disciplined. But Pepe was really good for them tonight. A bit disappointed also in the goalkeeper Costa. I mean, lucky boy that Havertz for the disallowed Odegaard goal. Havertz pulled Pepe down, but it was just a bit of a shambles, wasn't it? Pepe laying it back to the goalkeeper. This was in the second half, where it was 1-0 to Arsenal on the night, of course, and it stayed like that. So, but the Arsenal are through. Their supporters are living in dreamland now, after many years of being. It's the first time they've gone to the quarterfinals since 2010.
Yes.
So
When they
that's
played Barcelona.
yes. So that's major for them. I saw Barcelona have gone through tonight, which I find very interesting.
Oh,
uh,
it was a good end to the game from what I saw as well. And we'll get to that in a bit with Sarah. But last question on Arsenal, give it to Sarah as well. Are Arsenal one of the favourites in the Champions League? What do you think, Sarah?
Do you know what? It's been going around, at least in Canadian media over here, for the last couple of weeks now. Everyone's thinking, okay, it's Man City, and then between Real Madrid and Arsenal. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not been
Really?
sold on it. Yeah. I mean, since then, I've just been like, I don't know. Like, Arsenal just, I mean, they're looking better and better. But it's kind of a matter of eventually this is going to come down to they can't win both. I can't see this team winning both. What are
Yeah.
they going to pick? Is Arteta going to go for the Prem or is he going to go for Champions League? That was the one upside I was thinking. If Arsenal get knocked out, all the marbles are in the Prem basket now. You know what I mean? So, but now I'm thinking this might stretch them too thin. And we have to see, of course, the Champions League has the quarterfinal draw following all these matches. So who could they get? I mean, the quarterfinals are going to be insanity. The teams are looking really good.
I need to ask you this question then. If you were to get Arsenal as a Barcelona fan, would you be worried?
Sure. But I would also take them over a few
Other
other teams.
teams.
You know what I mean? Like you
I
got to
get you.
look. Yeah.
No, it's looking good for Arsenal because again they're looking a lot more reassured as well. I've been singing Ben White's praises a lot recently. I thought he was very good today as well. And when you're looking at someone like Ben White, Joshua, I need to get your thoughts on this as well.
Mm.
Do you think he's good enough to be starting for England at the European Championships in the summer? Because I thought he was absolutely fantastic once again today.
I think who he's up against is difficult. Carl Walker's it's been such a mainstay in the England side. He's done it Euro 2021, do it in World Cup, etc., etc. And then you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, they want to push him more central areas, but they can push him back. It's who he's up against, and he hasn't played centre back in a while now. You know, a couple of years ago, you could say he can play centre back, he can play right back to add that versatility. But because he's now just playing right back, I'm not sure if I'm being honest from an England point of view. Because from an Arsenal perspective, he hugs the touchline. He doesn't really go in central. He plays the overlaps, whereas the opposite end, you know, Kvor and Zinchenko goes in more of an essential area. I don't think tactically, maybe in England, I'm not saying he's going to get exposed, but that relationship you have with the player in front of you is important. And he's built that over time with Saka. And of course, you'd think Saka would start for England, so maybe that would be a good link. But can't see him starting against Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker in his day is one of the best right backs in the world, if not the best right back in the world. So yeah, but he's had a fine season. I don't think it's because of him. It's just because he's up against and, you know, the setup and everything. I don't think there's an issue with Ben White. He's been excellent this season. I think Havertz, Jorginho and White have come into their own in the new year for them in the league, the Champions League dream. But in terms of Arsenal's form, 8 straight wins. I was so surprised to hear that was the first time that I was at the Newcastle Arsenal game earlier this month. I think it's we're March now, isn't it? February, whatever. Yeah, in February. And that was the first time Arsenal had won 6 in a row in the start of the calendar year. And I find that staggering for a club of Arsenal stature to have that form. And that's because players like Jorginho, Havertz and White, who are not fan favourites, have stepped up and have added to, you know, your Odegaards, your Sakas and your Martinellis. And that's why in the position where they're in, to be honest. But
Shown a lot of experience as well in their gameplay, which actually showed today. It lacked last season in the Europa League against Sporting Lisbon, but it showed today the way that Jorginho could control the game from midfield with Declan Rice pushing on as well. It worked really well for them. And I have to say, credit where credit's due to Mikel Arteta. His signings from the summer have all been shining, even in today's game as well. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz proving me wrong as well. David Raya, penalty shootout hero. It's crazy to think about how they've got so many. Trossard as well, scoring the goal. Kirio, I have to shout him out as well at left back. He's been playing a lot better as well. But when you're looking at it, Sarah, you're looking at Mikel Arteta, and I asked our social media yesterday in a Q&A, and who's the third best manager in the Premier League. A lot of people are saying Mikel Arteta. Would you agree with that, Sarah? That is actually he made himself his own manager after being Pep's assistant for so long.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Pep's assistant, like, doesn't that give you such a boost, right? He's learned so much under maybe one of the greatest managers ever, if not the greatest. And I think what we've seen Arsenal do last season, almost enough, but just short, to now this season looking better, top of the table. I mean, you have to give him credit, especially for his age and his experience. He doesn't have, you know, all these years of experience so many of these Premier League managers have. So, I mean, it's hard to say. There's so many good managers in the Prem this season, you know, that you have to give a shout out to. But I mean, Mikel Arteta absolutely deserves his flowers because what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time, it's really incredible.
I agree. Joshua, would you agree as well?
You have to. He's top of the league. He's up against Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, who've won the Premier League, the last managers to win the Premier League. You know, Pep Guardiola, if it wasn't for Sir Alex Ferguson, who've won the Premier League more times than anybody else. He's going head to head, toe for toe, back to back. And he's done it quietly. He bought White. I remember the summer he bought Ben White 50 million from Brighton. It was like, why is he doing that for? He bought Ramsdale when he had the goalkeeper. He's built very quietly. Saliba obviously was on loan. He came in to join Gabriel. The pieces have been there. Whereas, you know, same you could say for Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp had won Bundesligas. Jurgen Klopp has gone to the Champions League and lose at Wembley in 2013 to Bayern Munich. Mikel Arteta's just been a number two. We all could be number twos. Doesn't mean we're going to be, you know, a Premier League, you know, challenging for the title. So yeah, I think naturally, listen, those 3 sides are the best sides in the Premier League, and because of their managers. He's quite emotional at times. I know he can rub people the wrong way. You know,
that was happening after the game as well when you're looking at it, and you're just like, I was fighting with Porto players and the referee. Crazy.
But tactically, Arsenal, you know, they don't get mugged off much. You know, Arsenal, when we were growing up, last 10 years, are easy to play against. You get in their heads, you can beat them. You can't do that to an Arteta side. They only lose to the big ones. They don't lose to the small ones. And that's credit to him. And that's a big tactical change. I think he is, to be honest. And if he
Yeah,
wins the league, who knows? There'll be an argument if he's better than Klopp. You know, I would love to join in any sort of argument like
it's
that.
true. Klopp versus Arteta would be crazy argument. Klopp's leaving when Arteta wins the league. What a discussion that would be as well. Arteta's done it on a less budget, less time. That's incredible to talk about. Maybe that can. Remember, I'm Team Arsenal for this league as well. I don't want Liverpool or Manchester City to win, being a Man United fan as well. So
Really? Really?
I'm kind of rooting for Arsenal. I'm kind of rooting
Really?
for Arsenal. I can't have Man City winning four in a
That's
row.
how I know you live in Stoke. That's how
Oh,
I know
come
you
on
live in
now.
Stoke.
Come on now. I just can't have Man City winning four in a row, and I can't have Liverpool winning anything. I saw someone with a Liverpool bottle earlier today, and it made me throw up. I was like, I'm fasting. I can't be getting angry at this. It's disgraceful as well. But yeah, that's the end of our Arsenal topic as well. Now we've got to go on to Sarah's Barcelona performance as well. So it's like, oh, it's recorded. Never mind. So Sarah, Barcelona, Napoli, 3-1, convincing win on paper, but was there anything but from what you were watching as well?
Listen, they still have so many injuries, right? If another one of these players go down, it's going to be long for Barcelona. Seriously, they were also, you could tell Xavi was making some tactical substitutions around the 60th, taking on Fermin and your favorite player, Andreas Christensen.
Holding
For
midfielder again. Solid
yeah,
performer.
he was class today, but bringing on players like Roberto and Romeo, who I've had issues with all season. But of course, they play Atleti this weekend, so there were choices to be made, which I understand. But losing these players, you could tell there was a shift in the dynamic of the way Barca were playing, and for a moment, it looked like Napoli were going to equalize. So it is concerning thinking if any one of these players go down, it's gonna be very difficult for Barca to adjust. That being said, this was one of the best first halves I've seen from Barca this entire season. They looked
Seriously.
hungry. They were eager. Yeah, because there was something in them that I haven't seen in so long. We know the players are like very talented, but I haven't seen Barca have this eagerness and this drive and this motivation for ages now. So to see that in the first half, if they're losing the ball, they're chasing it down like that. They're so used to kind of, well, someone will pick it up, that kind of mentality. But
We'll
today
leave
was,
it for someone else. Someone will tap back
yeah,
for us as well. Doesn't
no,
matter. I'm Robert
today was
Lewandowski. I'm
different. Like,
35 years old. I've scored many goals in the Champions
stop
League. That
it.
that type of mentality, right? Now,
Yeah,
it's good to see as well because, like you've said before as well, if you don't mind me stealing your words, but you've kind of said like Lamine Yamal has inspired this injury-ridden Barcelona side as well. And when you're looking at that second goal, I think it was when
the
Cancelo
set,
scored on the rebound. That pass
everything.
to Rafinha, that was
But
incredible to
also
look
the
at.
way he was driving up the pitch, he just this guy. He's 16. Like, what is going on?
I was
He's
gonna make a joke about his too young. I was gonna say, nah, Joshua. I'm not
don't.
gonna Joshua. I wasn't gonna bring you into this as well, but I think we'll leave it. We'll leave this joke. It's Ramadan. I've got to behave myself here. But sorry, he's 16 years old. Yes, and is still killing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, just unstoppable. This guy's the real deal. He's so great to watch. But a lot of the players today really stepped up. I mean, Jules Koundé had Kavicha Kvaratskhelia in his pocket. In his pocket, Kvara couldn't do anything today, and we're
He got
talking about.
subbed off as well.
Yeah,
Before then.
exactly. Like it looked like a Barcelona team that was really hungry for a win, and they did get that. So I was super pleased to see that performance from them today.
No, that's excellent. Final point on Barcelona, Sarah, before moving on to the final topic, which is just the Champions League in general. João Cancelo, we mentioned him last week about being injured, being in and out of the side as well. When he's in the side, he's performing. And today, from what I saw, not just a goal, but his performance in actually driving the team forward from left back and being an inverted left back, he's looking like his best self once again as well. What's your thoughts on João Cancelo? And do you think he's really the real deal to be staying at Barcelona for next season as
Yeah,
well?
I think we talked about this on the pod last week, but I said if I can pick between Cancelo and Felix, I want Cancelo all day. Like
Yeah.
he's such a versatile player. He brings so much. He also seems to be really passionate about the team already. Like when players are scoring, he's always grabbing the badge. Like he seems very happy at Barcelona, and he's been able to contribute so much, not only in the sense of goals, but in the creation of like a leading up to a goal play kind of thing. So I think he's a brilliant player, and I'm really happy that he's kind of really coming into himself, it seems.
Yeah, it's true. Because when you're looking at it, Joshua, from the outside in as well, when you're looking at some of these players, Gundogan looks like he's on his way out. Lewandowski looks like he's on his way out. But they've still got that fire in them from a point of view where they actually want to do well for Xavi in this Champions League run. They want to be one of the big boys in the last eight, and they now are one of the big boys in the last eight. And we've got two more games coming tomorrow. But Joshua, your points of view on Barcelona, what have you seen from this season that has impressed you or kind of worried you from a football commentator's perspective?
not seen much of Barcelona. I know they're not doing well in terms of the league. And Real Madrid have not raced ahead, but they have a healthy lead at the top. And then Javi leaving at the timing of that and the words around that, from a neutral point of view, from the outside, didn't seem healthy. We know they have big financial issues. They're rebuilding Camp Nou, of course, but they look at the name of players you just mentioned. Gondwan, the captain of the treble winners, Lewandowski, one of the finest strikers of the last 20 years. Rafinha. Oh, I'll kill for Rafinha at Man United.
Take
He's an upgrade on Anthony.
I could take him, honestly.
Take him.
We'd take Lamine Yamal over Anthony. That's all I'm saying.
No, don't you dare.
These are good footballers who probably have a lot to prove. Like Cancelo's, where he left Manchester City was. I mean, when we saw about that, it was Bayern Munich we went to last year, right?
Yes, yeah.
It was a shock. Why has he gone there? He fell out of Pep Guardiola. He's obviously moved in the summer. So for him to be impressing is really good because his game, he's a temperament player. So if his attitude's not in it, you see that on the pitch. But if he's on it, it's one of the best in the world. And for Barcelona tonight, I'm surprised they won tonight. I'll be honest with you, I just think they needed a night like this. Barcelona have been quarter-finalists again. It's important for that club where it's been, since Messi's departed, and of course that ilk of team have gone. We experienced as United supporters because Ferguson, Messi. It's kind of the life after it's not going to be great.
Yeah,
and it's we bloody here all the time, and you want to create new history, but some's longer than
they're
other.
always lingering. They're always lingering.
So for Barcelona, it's good, and for them to reach that feat, and the draw is quite good because I think when you got Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, I know Atletico Madrid are behind tomorrow, and Inter Milan, sorry, but when you can make those games emotional, against Real Madrid. It doesn't mean that, Real Madrid probably strong favourites going into that game, but it's a derby, so it doesn't matter, And I think that can suit Barca. I think they could be dark horses to go deep in Europe. If they were to draw the Dortmund PSV, why can't they go to the semis? And all you need to do is get to the semis and anything can happen. Be difficult against the likes of Manchester City, but PSG Barca would be a good tie, I think. I think PSG have showed they've both got vulnerabilities. I mean, it's hard to admit there's vulnerabilities to Barcelona. They're not the Barcelona old, of course, but you've got goals. And in this current format with no away goals, it's all about scoring. It's about getting it done.
It's about getting it done. Now we had a comment here as well. BD Games said, honestly, if Anthony and Rafinha swapped, I would see Anthony improve and Rafinha drop. He might be right, with the way things are going at Manchester United and with the management of Xavi. Anthony may be looking like the £100 million Brazilian right winger as well. So I like that comment there from BD Games.
I never said I wanted Anthony, by the way. I just said you guys. So, I mean,
it's
take
fine.
both. Cheers.
It's fine. Sometimes we have to invest in Lamine Yamal with the way FFP is working as well. Sell a homegrown player. Speaking of homegrown players, Sarah, you have to talk about your centre back, who I saw for the first time tonight. What's his name? Paul
Cubarsí, man of the match in his first Champions League match. I mean, this is the thing with Barca. Like, we're looking at these guys, 17 years old, Lamine Yamal 16, Fermin Lopez, I think 18. It's just, no matter what, like Joshua was mentioning, all the turmoil Barca has kind of gone through since Messi left, with the financial issues, the managerial issues. No matter what, they still produce talent better than any other club in the world. And the fact that they're still doing it and they're relying on these players too, it really does, like, it's just, it makes me feel really happy, honestly, because there's some light here. But it's incredible the way they're able to just pump these players out, they're not just, kind of subpar. These are quality footballers. And I mean, really, like, back to Lamine, like, I think he's different. He's special. Like, I really think this guy is going to be on another level for the next, 15 years.
He's not going to turn out like an Ansu Fati or a Malcolm. He's going to turn up more like a Ronaldinho, a Messi, a Rivaldo, maybe. What are you leaning towards, Sarah?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely not Ansu Fati. Poor Ansu Fati, just riddled with injuries. But Malcolm as well. I mean, he's not really our player, right?
It's true. It's just you saw him coming through as a right winger, and you're like, oh, maybe he'll do something, because it was an unusual signing for Barcelona at the time, and you're like, okay, cool. He scores at the San Siro against Inter Milan, and then you just never see him again. He moves off to Russia, which was crazy as well. One from Paul Cubarsí. Did I pronounce his name? Cubarsí. Start on him today. Paul Cubarsí is the first Barcelona player to complete 50+ passes, 100% of his tackles, and make 5+ clearances on his Champions League debut. since at least the 2003-2004 season. That is crazy levels. And like Sarah said, he was the MVP as well. And just to end the show, actually, no, we'll talk about Arsenal one more time because Arsenal have finally banished their demons of the last 16, losing to Barcelona in 2011, losing to Milan in 2012, Bayern 2013, Bayern 2014, Monaco 2015, Barcelona again 2016, Bayern Munich 2017, and finally, like Joshua said, the first time since 2010 they're in the quarterfinals after beating Porto in 2024. BD Games once again says, yeah, now this is coming from a QPR fan, but in Europe I support Barcelona. Sorry, got another fan here. BD Games is supporting Barcelona in the Champions League. And now we're looking at the last 8, just to end the show as well. We've got Barcelona confirmed, Real Madrid confirmed, Arsenal confirmed, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, and Bayern Munich. Tomorrow we're going to do a live show again of a reaction to the 2 games that are happening tomorrow. But initial thoughts, Joshua, initial thoughts, Sarah, when you're looking at these last 8, these are looking like really good teams. And for me personally, I think Inter Milan will get into there as well. And I really believe PSV Eindhoven will get into there as well. But when you're looking at this list, Sarah, I'm going to come to you first as well. Is there a team that's standing out as the clear favourites, or are there going to be a few upsets going into this last 8, into this quarterfinals? What do you think?
Listen, with tournament style football, we always see upsets. Of course, they're the standout teams. And I'm sure during the draw, we might see a bigger team versus like not a smaller team. But, if PSV makes it and they go up against City, of course, people are going to, favor
Match fixing again. Another charge to the 115 charges that
There you go, right?
they're accused of.
But the thing is like it's all on the day. It all comes down to the day. Are they going to have a good game? Are they feeling good? Like we've seen teams get upset by, a team that they probably had no business beating or losing to rather. So I think like anything is possible at this point, especially like Josh mentioned, once it's the semis, all bets are off. But for me, I still think you have to look at the City side and think they're immaculate. But for me, I've always said Real Madrid. I have the fear still in me. Like as a Barcelona fan, you cannot dismiss this team. I don't care who's injured. I don't care if there are suspensions. This team knows how to win this tournament better than any club in the history of the Champions League. So I think you'd be silly to dismiss Real Madrid. And I know because of the season and the way they started, a lot of people are edging towards City. If I'm honest right now, I think Real Madrid could beat City. And if we're talking like a 1 game, we're not talking about winning a league in consistency. I think Real Madrid has it.
Yeah, it's true. Even BD Games, your new favorite supporter who's watching our stream today, he said Real Madrid are clear favorites for him as well. So it's looking likely that they could be the team, especially after they, in my opinion, scraped through that game last week against RB Leipzig at the Bernabeu as well.
Great.
It was very bad to see how RB Leipzig with so many chances. I thought, you know what, they should have really go for it as well. But Joshua, let me hear your thoughts as well, because remember at the beginning of the season, I was telling you about how Harry Kane was the missing piece of the puzzle for Bayern Munich, and they're still looking topsy-turvy. Thomas Tuchel's in till the end of the season. Again, a manager who's going to be leaving soon from their position as a permanent manager as well. But can you see a dark horse in this tournament as well? No racial pun intended there, Joshua. I never meant it like that at all. But PSG, Bayern Munich, anyone from the outside perspective that you think, they could challenge as a dark horse as well?
No, I love this time of the season because this is where you can see the roadmap to the final. It's the Champions League draw. The semi-final for me is equally as more important than the quarter-final. If Real Madrid don't beat, I'm not in Man City's side, they go to the final, in my opinion. Because I can only see Man City beating Madrid. I fully agree with Sarah, they're very strong. But they face Man City, they ain't going to beat Man City over 2 legs. City are way too strong. And that's why City are heavy favourites. To beat City over 2 legs, 180 football minutes with no away goals, I don't think anybody's got the power to stop them other than maybe Liverpool. They're not in the Champions League, they're in Europa League because they finished 5th by Man United last year.
Exactly. They can talk about 7 all they want. They're in the Europa League this season.
But Arsenal, I had to get that in, sorry. But Arsenal, they would factor their chance against City because, as I mentioned about the emotional element, that title race will be thrilling come the 30th of March. And after that, they can play each other home and away. But Bayern and PSG are interesting because Mbappe, we know where he's going next. He would want to at least get them closer to the final, not go out in the last 8. But
it's very convincing against Real Sociedad in that second leg.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, really good goals. It's just about the draw because I don't think there's any difference between you've got Man City and then you've got Madrid, and I think the rest. Arsenal, I
Don't
feel
write
like
off Arsenal. That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to write off Arsenal. They've definitely improved, obviously, they're top of the league, etc., etc. But I just felt they had to put those demons away properly. You know, another day they don't win that penalty shootout. You've got to be Porto. You're better side. Respectfully to Porto, you are the favourite. You need to be winning at 3-4-0 because I feel like if you go up against Barcelona and Barca have a chance, they're not letting you have a chance. You know, Lewandowski's creating an opportunity. There will be a goal. PSG will get a moment for Mbappe. Porto didn't have that attacking threat. All these teams we mentioned have attacking threat. So that's my worry for Arsenal.
And experience in the Champions League as well, lest we forget.
So, yeah, I haven't really said it. It's Man City. I can't see anybody stopping, unfortunately. They'll get to the final. I hope not, but it's two legs, that's a lot of football, you know. And their record, the Etihad, is phenomenal. Everybody's gone there and lost. Real Madrid, PSG, all in that point in that time, they just suffocate you. And that performance in the second leg in the semi-final, I know it was last season, different personnel. I've never seen someone move like that to Real Madrid. Even Real Madrid on their legs, like, wasn't nice to look at. So,
absolute domination by Man City as well. Absolutely crazy when you're looking back in hindsight. Starting Cruz and Modric against that midfield was crazy from Carlo Ancelotti, in my opinion.
But Inter are strong as well. We haven't mentioned Inter. We're saying
we'll get onto it now because there's two games for tomorrow as well.
But Inter, if you want to talk about dark horses, I think Inter. I think Simeone's. I think yeah. I think they're
kind of team they know how to frustrate these really attacking teams, and that's why they went to the final last year, kind of under everyone's radar too. No one was thinking, oh,
like Inter, a dark horse,
literally. And the thing is, I mean, they didn't get absolutely smashed by City last year. You know, this is the kind of football they play. It's super defensive. They know how to frustrate. They play on the counter. But I think that's the biggest thing. They know how to frustrate these teams. And
but that's the thing that they've changed the most this season, Sarah. They're a lot more attacking now in European football because they have two solid strikers up front. Last season, it was Dzeko who would hold up the play, and you had Lautaro Martinez running on. Now with Marcus Thuram, you've got two strikers who can take on any defense by themselves now, which is what's looking a lot more reassuring from an Inter Milan perspective. But from your point of view, can Atletico Madrid come back in this tie? Because I think 1-0 down, home in Madrid as well, at the Wanda Metropolitano as well. You've been singing their praises this season, but do you think Atletico Madrid can win against Inter Milan before tomorrow's draw, this week's draw, I should say?
Yeah, asked me this 3 weeks ago, and I would have said no doubt. But there is now a lot of doubt in me. I know it's at the Wanda. That's a fortress. The Atleti fans are violent, like they are lethal. These guys, so you know they're going to bring the heat.
So with their staff as well. You don't want to be misbehaving on their stadium tour as well. Stay away from it. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. But yeah, like you said, 1-0 down, that's nothing really. And I think, you know, Griezmann has been out these past couple of games, and you've really noticed that with Atleti, but they're barely hanging on in the top four in La Liga. Bilbao are 2 points behind them. That could all change this weekend. They have to play Barca, obviously. They were just kicked out of the Copa del Rey. So in my opinion, they're not winning La Liga. They're out of the Copa del Rey. This is it. This is it. So I'm thinking maybe that's what gets them motivated. Maybe Simeone gets these guys and said, this is your best chance of seeing silverware this season. But like I said, a team like Inter, they're so smart. They're so strategic that it is hard for me to see Atleti advancing. I would love it for Griezmann's sake. Like we've been talking about him all season and how he just keeps getting older and better somehow. But
still lacking that major trophy in his cabinet as well so far. I mean, he's got the Europa League and the World Cup, but in terms of for Atletico Madrid, he's lacking that league title and is lacking that Champions League. And who knows, they could make on the comeback. They could make the comeback tomorrow as well, which would be crazy.
Yeah, they could. But you also expect Lautaro Martinez to probably score in this match because this guy actually can't stop. Incredible.
It's true. On fire this season. BD Games once again said their defense is incredible as well. So that's something to watch out for in tomorrow's game. Joshua, let me hear your thoughts on Dortmund versus PSV. Initial thoughts as well. Again, me wearing my Dortmund shirt. Jadon Sancho scored at the weekend, so that's promising signs for him. And he looks like he's ready to stay in Dortmund because he doesn't like his time at Manchester United and under Erik ten Hag as well. Can we see an upset from Dortmund? Because for me personally, I think PSV are the favourites because they were much better in that first leg than Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, I did the first leg. PSV really should have won the game on night, but Dortmund,
so dominant.
They got a bit of cojones in this Champions League.
Oh, Spanish, I like it.
And go, you know, they got a bit of that. I fancy them in terms of their experience, the places they've gone to this year, the teams they faced in the Champions League. They're at home, right? They're at home for this one, right? They are.
Yeah, Dortmund are at home.
being at home as well. I just edged them. I just edged them some bits in the middle. Yeah, I think they'll do this over PSV, who lacked, I mean,
Conviction.
everything first leg. No, they did. I mean,
they were shooting at half chances, which isn't like them at all. They were very dominant in the Eredivisie, but in the Champions League, they've been hit and miss, which is annoying to see.
So yeah, it's the weaker two teams on paper throughout the tournament. I don't want to get anybody upset here, but yeah, are the weaker two sides. And if you'd be licking your lips if you get one of these two sides. Say that Dortmund showed good heart, as I said, against PSG and Newcastle. So they're no mug. I mean, Bayern would not want Dortmund, for example. That's why this will make.
I'd love that. I'd love that as a tie.
Yeah.
Dortmund versus Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
Bayern
Bring
are
it
out.
on.
Bayern are out. That's what you called it here first. If Dortmund get Bayern are out, 100%.
Don't worry, I'll clip this when it happens. It will happen, Josh. Right? I believe in your
I hope
fortune
not.
telling ability.
And City, anyone. So it'd be a shame if Bayern goes out. So they could probably have a moment of class to beat City. I don't know. I think Dortmund will go through. But you know it's about PSV. You never know.
Nah, it's all good. Nicely done. Just to end our stream, we just want to say, everyone, thank you very much for watching and for listening. BD Games, thank you very much for commenting as well. One question for Sarah and Joshua just to end this live stream. Who will finish the top scorer of the Champions League? One word answer. Sarah, go.
Nah, I'm going Jude Bellingham.
Bellingham, top scorer.
Let's switch it up. Yeah, can't stop. And we know that Erling Haaland is not so much a big game player, right? What did he do last year in the semis and the finals? No, listen, I know the obvious answer is Haaland. I'm trying to give something else. I also backed Madrid against City versus Joshua, so I got to keep it going in this direction because I can assume that Joshua is going to go in that direction.
Nah, that's excellent. Nicely done. Joshua, top scorer of the Champions League.
Who's top goal scorer? It's still Højlund, isn't it? Isn't it Højlund?
No, it's not Højlund. I wish it was Højlund. There's only one goal behind the top scorer at this moment.
Who's top goal scorer?
So you got Haaland, Kane, and Mbappe all joined.
It's Haaland. Because Kane and Mbappe's teams are not serious outfits to go far. Haaland will.
But that's what Sarah said as well. He didn't score in the semi-finals last time, and he didn't score in the final last time as well. So it could end very soon as well. I'll stick with Harry Kane. I've been backing Harry Kane all season for top scorer in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, I think, will get to the semi-finals as well. BD Games also said Bayern, I wouldn't write them off. I think Bayern are dark horses because of their Champions League history. Fair enough. I agree with that one as well. But I really think Harry Kane, I think he could get a couple goals in this next round. I think he would be the one to watch out for as well. That's not my English bias speaking. I think literally the way Bayern Munich are playing now, they just play through Musiala and Kane to get as many goals as possible, especially with their injuries on the wingers as well. Serge Gnabry's back, but lots to look forward to in this Champions League run as well. But yeah, I think we're all good with this one. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. Sarah, thank you very much for joining us on the live stream. Any closing messages from you? That's all.
Visca Barça, we're going to the quarterfinals in 4 years.
First time since what, 2020? Oh no, I can't say that.
Messi played on this team.
I can't say that year to you. It gives you PTSD, too much PTSD for saying 2020. So I'll avoid it. But first time in 4 years in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Joshua, any closing messages from yourself after commentating all night long on the Arsenal versus Porto game, which is crazy work ethic?
I wish United went so bad. I want to be sorry. Like. You know what I mean? When is it going to be our turn again? Bloody hell.
We just have to switch on Football Manager or FIFA and it'll be our turn again. It's good as gone.
Back to professional mode. No, I think the Champions League's got a lot of stick, hasn't it, this season for being boring, but we're now going into the meat of that burger. I think it looks good. It's going to be tasty. All ties are good. I hope I'm
glad you mentioned the food after I've opened my fast. I appreciate it.
Sorry. But yeah,
it's okay.
I'm looking forward to the quarterfinals after the international break. All ties are good. There's so many storylines there. Mbappe, Kane, etc. Pep, blah blah blah. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'm ready for it, and we'll be here for it, counting down the Champions League until the final as well on our live streams, which will be great. But everyone, thank you very much for watching. Do appreciate Sarah Pararia and Joshua Adudonko. Their descriptions are in their social medias are in our description below. Everyone, take care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.